Hi, I'm Ingrid, and I'm part of the team from the Cropper Foundation. We are so very glad to be here today with you all.
Hi, I'm Omar, and today I'll be describing what our project hopes to do.
And I'm Caterina. Together with Team Grey, I'll be chatting with you all about our remarkable project.
Our IDB-funded project is MAPS, Making Agriculture Profitable and Sustainable. This is the project on which we have done this great course. In Trinidad and Tobago, small-scale farming is the dominant agricultural practice. Many small-scale farmers cultivate on lands concentrated on hillside areas. Climate change and long periods of drought have led farmers to experience reduced crop yields and productivity. Unfortunately, this has caused the increased use of unsustainable practices in land clearing and preparation, and a high use of inorganic chemicals that contaminate watercourses. These actions contribute to increased flooding due to loss of watersheds. An estimated 2,000 downstream communities suffer from flooding and landslides on an annual basis. The diminished forested areas increase CO2 emissions due to the loss of carbon sinks. This has a direct health and environmental effects on both farmers and consumers. These issues have also threatened our water security. Downstream water quality is sometimes closer to wastewater, due to pesticides and fertilizers used by hillside farmers. So now that you've heard the problems, let me call Omar, who will explain how we hope to help.
Thanks, Ingrid, for all that great information. I want to introduce you all now to the reality of our small-scale farmers in our tropical hillsides. Most farmers are not informed about the risks of their practices and the consequences, as Ingrid just mentioned. Because farming is their primary source of income, they strongly depend on the reliability of farming practices to ensure timely and abundant yields. The current agricultural market in Trinidad and Tobago is very competitive, and the producers usually hold the short end of the stick. Farmers are hesitant to adapt their ways, out of fear of loss of income. They rarely have enough resources or access to shift to an alternative farming method. We have developed a project that will enable farmers in the Northern Range to shift to more sustainable and profitable farming practices. To support the adoption of climate-smart agriculture in the Northern Range, we will address the following over a period of 36 months. 1. Provide training and field support for 500 farmers for the adoption of climate-smart and sustainable agricultural practices. 2. Support the development and implementation of third-party testing to verify that produce is free from inorganic chemicals. 3. Provide testing sites for sustainably cultivated products. 4. Create access to higher value sales channels in 4 premium supermarkets. 5. Support with the packaging, branding, marketing and premium pricing of sustainably cultivated products. 6. Support community-based reforestation of degraded areas within the targeted farming communities, thereby increasing carbon sinks. Now let's meet the whole of Team Grey.
When we started the course, we already had the following documents: the WBS, project schedule, resource utilization curve, and the procurement matrix.
So the creation of a project charter reminded us of the project's scope and organizational structure, and it became the skeleton for our WBS. As we attempted to redo a WBS, however, we soon realized that the full project was too lengthy and complex for the exercise. We decided to focus on one component. We chose the training for several reasons. It would start soon. It's integral. It has a significant length. It has a lot of subcomponents and a wide range of stakeholders. Creating the WBS made us break down the scope of the project. It made us look critically at our goals, objectives and activities.
Is this an output, a deliverable or an activity? Are all outputs relevant to the project objective?
Can all activities be placed in a work package? Are all our objectives smart?
What does it mean when some work packages are crowded, while others seem so empty? Does this tell us something about the workload? Are we focusing on the right things?
This process generated very valuable debates. It forced us to be aware of language, and it made us see how the work should be prioritized.
Having to organize the activities into the WBS work packages made the creation of a project schedule fairly easy. We chose to represent the project schedule in a Gantt chart. Thanks to the course we redid our project schedule, re-evaluating carefully the estimation of activity duration, the logical sequence of activities, and related dependencies. This helped reflect on how delays can negatively impact the project. We discussed internal and external dependencies at length, and which activities could be implemented together. We then went on to develop our S-curve. To create an S-curve, we had to look at our resource utilization. Even though we used the training component of the project for the exercise, it was great to see that even within this section, the resource utilization was as desired. The exercise also made us reflect on the sources of our resources. An important part of our learning process was to master Excel, to the point of generating a graph. Being able to give a visual representation of data is important in project management. It can be used in many different ways, and it makes our data look more professional.
The development of a procurement matrix showed us that procurement is not just something that's done parallel to the project. It taught us that procurement is an integral part of the project itself, and that it should be included, like everything else, as an activity in the WBS and the project schedule. Recruitment of staff should be done professionally, with sufficient allocated time and resources. If procurement does not go according to plan, this can have tremendous consequences for the project. We will see more of these examples in the development of the risk matrix.
The risk matrix generated great discussions within our team. We applied both the brainstorming and the SWOT analysis techniques. Living on a small island in the Caribbean region, there are endless uncertainties. It was interesting to discuss the levels of risk, and the usefulness of including everything. The fluctuating weather, for example, can greatly impact crucial project elements, such as attendance or availability of material. In our case, risk matters a lot for communication. We realized that it's crucial for us to know if our farming participants have any challenges that affect their attendance and use of the new techniques being taught. After understanding the major risks from the matrix, we decided to suggest a tool that would allow farmers to be able to communicate with us when they need to. We developed a proposal for a hotline that participants can call at any time. An operator will take note of their challenges and inform the project team to provide help. Similarly, in another occasion we saw the potential risk symptom in the communication with the officers. This was an opportunity to develop a related communication schedule. If approved, these risk mitigation activities need to be added to WBS and the project schedule. This exercise allowed us to flow from the risk matrix to the communication matrix.
From the risk matrix we concluded that communication should be ongoing to facilitate, for example, the monitoring of risk symptoms. This will ensure that constant feedback from stakeholders can provide the team with an opportunity for timely intervention when needed. The communication matrix made us review the WBS to ensure that we had noted all important communication levels, and that it was included in the WBS. Subsequently, we finalized the content, means and motivation of the communication. We also defined the exact recipient and assigned the person responsible for it. This reflection on role division led us straight into our responsibility matrix.
After including all the updated elements into the WBS and the project schedule, it was now time to finalize our project planning. We would need to bring the complete implementation team together to discuss the responsibility assignment matrix. During our conversations we discussed the formal chain of command and organizational structure, and compared this to the distribution of roles and responsibilities in the team. However, we learned that it is important to make sure that the workload is realistically distributed. A responsibility matrix will indicate if too much decision-making power, or too much workload is falling on one person. It also specifies which key players should be informed. The chain of command insinuates that the same person is responsible for the final product, for example, the project manager. The key of this exercise is to have a meeting in which we analyze the project schedule and WBS together, and agree on the best way to assign the responsibilities. We like the idea of everyone signing the matrix, as a further sign of commitment and consensus. This lengthy but productive exercise increases not only accountability and transparency during the project implementation, but it also encourages team building and communication.
Now that we have addressed all the tools separately, we would like to share with you some final thoughts. As we mentioned earlier, the project had already started at the time of this course. The majority of the information about the project was already available. This course made us dive deeper into the project and identify gaps and make timely adjustments. The tools that we developed made us zoom in and zoom out of the project easily. They also generated great dialogues and improved our team cohesion. Sometimes the dialogues were so in-depth that they led us away from the exercise. We were discussing much more than just the tools. We touched on topics linked to integrity, morality, indirect consequences for our communities, the role of the civil society on the whole, and the mission of our foundation. More often than not, we were forced to end these conversations because of time constraints, but we did not want to lose the valuable ideas that had been generated. So, we made an additional tool, a conversation journal. In this journal we took note of valuable ideas and topics that should be put on the agenda for another time. Interestingly enough, many of the ideas or concerns from the journal found places in other tools as the course developed. Others may take shape in new projects. We are so grateful for this opportunity that has made a sustainable and positive impact on our project management.
Thank you to our tutors and to the IDB. As you can tell, we achieved the main goal of this exercise. We had lots of fun.
We are looking forward to working together to achieve development in a sustainable, climate-friendly way.